Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all you aspiring traders out there. I'm Simon from fundedtradingplus.com, the best prop firm on the entire planet, obviously making lots of traders very, very happy. Two other things that make traders happy are our guests today, which is Nick Leeson and Jason Sen, two very experienced veteran traders who are going to be bringing their insights into the market today. We've got lots of trading challenges. We're playing for great causes, as always, so hopefully one or both of these gentlemen is going to raise lots of money for a fantastic worthy cause. Thank you, 8cap, for sponsoring the stream and funding those charities. Nick, a veteran of the show as well, a veteran in every respect. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, Simon. It's a pleasure to be back talking to you, and it's on with Jason as well. Somebody I've known for a number of years. I'm sure I'm on a high thing today, so we'll see how it goes.
You were slightly more confident before the battle. I seem to remember the words, Jason is a worse trader than me. I am Nick, the Lord of Trading. Or has that changed now?
No, you know I didn't say that, and you'll be hearing from my lawyers at the end of the show. Simon.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Jason, first time on the show, I believe. Welcome.
Indeed.
Nick's roped you into this, and obviously he's got some, he thinks he's the main man because he's the show veteran. Are you going to show him up today? Tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you.
So I live in Thailand these days. I started on the London International Financial Futures Exchange back in the 90s, which is sort of how Nick and I crossed paths through the futures industry, and did what everyone else did, made the progression onto screen trading, and still in the game.
Excellent. So you knew Nick when it was back in the day when he was at his peak, do you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, there was some. I can tell you some stories about some nights out in London later, if you like.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, did Nick do anything notable during his trading history? You remember?
No, nothing really springs to mind.
Excellent. Right. Well, one thing that's going to become clear shortly is I need you gentlemen to individually describe what instruments you trade and your sorts of trading styles, because you're going to see how that becomes relevant shortly. Nick, tell us a little bit about how you trade and what you like to trade.
Yeah, like I was struggling for words or adjectives when I was thinking about the way that I trade, and the normal word, and I think we spoke last time about a bit of doubling down that I did many years ago, and so the words sort of maverick and kind of come to mind, and it's a combination of looking at some of the fundamentals, the sentiment, the analysis, and I think I said it last time, Simon, when we were talking as well. I want to be in the trade, so Jason, for me, if I want to look at some technical analysis, I'll refer to Jason's more often than not because it's good. As he said, he's been in the game an awful long time, as long as me. And you don't stay in the game this long unless you know what you're doing, right? So Jason is very much a technical analyst. I'm nothing like that. So, I trade in those small pockets of the day where I know the market's going to move. So I focus on the opening bell in the morning, as we said before, opening bell in New York, and then I like to be out of the market 30 minutes later. So everything I do is very short term, into the market, out of the market. Some people call it scalping. It's not scalping in the traditional form that Jason and I would know. You hit somebody's bid, they immediately get on the offer to try and get in and out of the trade. That's how it worked in the pips years ago. It's slightly longer than that. I'm looking for 25, 30 pips. Whereas everything that Jason does, I think, has a longer time frame on it and is far more technically based than what I'm doing.
Excellent. Thank you for that summary. Jason, please tell us about the instruments you like to trade and how you trade as well.
Okay, well, Nick certainly understands how my mind works. So I kind of focus on Forex. I seem to have gravitated towards that as my sort of signal service went more retail. But that works quite well because obviously they're 24-hour markets from Sunday night to Friday night. I'm purely technical. I do obviously pay attention to the news and the fundamentals, but I wouldn't base a trading decision off it. So I'm Fibonacci levels, trend lines, moving averages, just basic stuff, really. I do keep it simple, and I look at about 4 or 5 different time frames.
Excellent. That's great. So quite a wide range there. You've got Jason, you're more sort of technically based in that respect. Nick, you just seem to just go more sort of on intuition, maybe feel with some structure around the sort of high volume time. I think that's a fair summary there. Better than my coin flip strategy anyway, which seems to just keep me in the game. Right, I think we're good. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say that was the one that you mentioned last time. I had a bit of a treat for you. Every floor trader who comes on, they bring on their trading jackets. So I thought I'd do that this week. This was my one. As you can see, it was obviously from many years ago and it doesn't fit anymore. So
might fit me, that one, Nick.
Might. I'll send it over in the post. Although Simon's looking a little bit small on the screen, so you might have to fight Simon for it.
Make sure you sign it first.
I don't think I've earned it, to be honest, compared to you two and your experience. Right, we're going to get into our first trading challenge today. Now, this is quite a good one, and I'm sure it's going to absolutely go wrong given your completely different trading styles. But the first trading challenge is trading places. Trade your opponent's ways. From what you've just described to me, you both know the way your opponent trades very, very well. So you've got to try and replicate their trading style, which I think is going to be a little bit of a challenge given how difficult you are. But then that's the fun of it, isn't it? Nick, please try and take a trade that you would typically expect Jason to take.
God, Jason will probably denounce this trade immediately that I take it. So I'm going to do something with the euro dollar. I don't trade currencies. They're not volatile enough for me. I'm always around the indices and, look at short, sharp movements around the open. I definitely think, that they are a little bit more from that opening bell before the real big players start to play with the market and drive it in whatever direction they want to go. So I know Jason follows most currencies, right? Or he can follow any currency because it's all technically based. So, Aussie dollar things I really don't know about, so I'm going to leave those alone. So, the euro is something that possibly I understand a little bit about because I live in a euro-based country. I'm not going to put Fibonacci up on there. I can't spell it. I don't really understand it. I think it's a bit of self-fulfilling, but that's me being a little bit cynical. So I do have some bands on the, as you can see, couple of averages which to play for me other than the 20-day moving average that's slightly below the current prices. Non-farm payroll later today, that's going to move the dollar. So I'm sure Jason can explain it to you far better than me. I think the dollar is probably what's moving these markets more than anything else. So I'm going to look for a continuing weakening of the dollar and buy the euro. And Jason, you can rubbish that immediately if you like, and I'm sure you will if it's wrong. So I am now long the euro against the dollar.
Excellent. Thank you for that, pushing you out of your comfort zone, trading those currencies. So, Jason, we're going to swing to you. Is that your technical analysis? Bollinger Bands, a couple of moving averages that are miles out the way and go long. Has he summed you up well there, or has he done you a disservice?
No, actually, I wouldn't disagree with that.
I wasn't summing Jason up. That was my thought process, Simon. You're being a bit harsh there, to be honest.
Actions speak louder than words. That's what he thinks about your technical analysis. That's clear, okay, Jason.
All right.
So you've got to try and trade how Nick does now. Now, there's a certain part of Nick's trading career that I don't want you to replicate. So let's try and do Nick Leeson 2022 trading. That would be ideal. On possibly, dare I say, an index. So, yeah, I'll let you take that away.
I'm going to have to do an index, obviously. I know that's what Nick focuses on because I actually follow his tweets and his LinkedIn posts every day. So I do know what he gets up to. So I think I'm going to have to buy the DAX. That's what I'm going to do. What do I do? So I need to go to my trading platform.
Yeah, go to your trading platform. Are you sharing it at the moment? That'd be great if you could do that. I'm not sure if
I think I am.
There we go. Oh, yeah, we're there. We're seeing lots of charts. Good.
Right. So I need to actually get the symbols up, don't I? That would have helped if I had the DAX up there.
Yeah, that's all right. That's no problem.
That would have been good. So indices, major indices. I need the Germany. There we go.
We're getting an MT4 masterclass here. I like this.
There we go. Right. So do I just leave the same volume in?
You can pick whichever volume you feel is appropriate. We don't want one micro lot. That's boring.
Go as big as you like, Jason.
Yeah, one lot. That's pretty good.
2,000 lots, Nick.
Is it? Yeah. And just remember to double down if it goes against you.
Would you recommend that
and
strategy?
triple and quadruple down. Right. Well, there we go. There we go. I bought my one lot. I'll adjust that with my stop later.
Excellent, excellent. So just a little bit further, I see you've got some very fancy looking blue charts there in the background. Obviously, MT4 you're just using to execute your trades. Tell us a little bit more about the sort of technical analysis that you would use in order to take trades, both sort of which TA you actually use and then how you use it.
Okay, so why don't I show you this is my daily chart up here on the top right. So really, really very simple. I've ruled out so many different indicators because I need something that's consistent across a broad range of markets, Forex, commodities, indices, because I provide a service to, a signal service, if you like, a technical analysis service. I've got to have a one-size-fits-all, not strategy, but a technique that fits all different markets. So I follow the 50, the 100, the 200, and the 500-day moving average, or those period moving averages across all the time frames that I look at. I use Fibonacci levels a lot. I really break charts down using fibs. It's kind of just a lazy way to create a roadmap of levels. I use trend lines, of course, and I keep an eye on the slow stochastics just to see if we're getting overbought, oversold. I wouldn't base a trade off them, but it's just something I like to keep an eye on. I'm a trend follower. I like candle formations. I like patterns, and I look at the weekly, daily, the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart, and I just try and combine all that together and get some sort of picture of where the markets might be going.
Yeah, so it looks relatively simple in that respect, doesn't it? What moving averages are you using there?
So I've got the black is the 50, the green is the 500, the blue up here is the 100, and the red is the 200. So I'll have that. They're all obviously on the daily chart, so they're daily, and then I'll have the same parameters on the monthly, the 4-hour and the 1-hour.
That's interesting. So do you like all the time frames to sort of be aligned? If you're going long, you want the daily, the 4-hourly, and then whatever else it is to be in the same direction.
Exactly. Yeah. Just looking for confluence, really.
Yeah, I think that's quite a common theme with a lot of professional traders we do have on here, is they do like to look at the longer term time frames and make sure you do have that confluence. You start off with your daily. If it's uptrending, your 4-hour is uptrending, then maybe come to a short-term time frame. It's interesting you said you've been through lots of different indicators. I think a lot of the traders who are going to be watching today are maybe just sort of starting their trading journeys, and I think the temptation is just to absolutely load up on technical analysis and put loads of indicators on the charts. Nick, you're not really an indicator man, are you? Give us a bit of sort of insight into your methodology. Maybe have a look at a chart with some examples.
Do you want me to get away from that Euro one that I'm losing money on at the moment, or
maybe look at an index. Maybe look at an index and sort of talk us through how you'd make your sort of decision making as well. Because I think what's fascinating is the sort of contrasting styles we have here today, which sort of emphasizes, there's no right and wrong in trading. It's a case of just finding what works for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that I'd like probably to hear from Jason about afterwards, and he kind of summed it up there a little bit, is, and you've mentioned it as well there, Simon, it is so confusing for people who are new to the market. What indicators do you use? You look on MT4 or MT5, there's hundreds on your drop down screens, and Jason has 30 plus years worth of experience. My technical analysis or my technical experience probably goes into days and hours worth of experience. So how do you settle on that number? And like if a retail trader's coming into the market and they're trying to understand it and they're using that technical analysis, Jason's got 30 years or possibly longer worth of experience in working with the ones that work for him and give that confluence, if you like. Whereas people have got to try and pick it up from the beginning, and they freeze. There's far too much to deal with. And that's why I try and keep it so. For me, it's the moving averages. So I look at the 20, the 50, and the 200. The 200 is the big one for me. If you're 200, it's a pretty good or it's a pretty solid indicator of something's about to happen. Whether that's some form of reversal, whether that's support or resistance when you're coming into it. I like the Bollinger Bands once you start to track those. And would take a trade based on those, but it is very short term. I love that opening bell because for me it takes me back to the pit trading years ago, where there's a certain amount of orders that have to be filled in that first few minutes after the market opens. And I genuinely believe that after that, you can start to see patterns where some algos or some of the programs are triggering. And I try to get on those, like I'll fixate on the Dow in the afternoon, and you might get a slightly softer opening, but after 2 or 3 minutes, you might get a buy program kick in. And I think I mentioned it before. I'm a believer that people who program those programs get lucky. It triggers at the same point every day, and I try to take advantage of that. And to the visual part of being on the trading floor, seeing the orders coming in, who the orders coming from. And I know you can't see who the orders coming from these days, but in my head, I probably believe it's JP Morgan, and it's going to move the market 20, 30 pips, and I try to ride that. So yeah, not technical at all, Simon, was the answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, because what ultimately brings it all back is just repetitive patterns and repetitive behavior, whether you're looking someone in the eye in the trading floor, whether it's the algorithm and things like that. Another point I generally make about technical analysis is people, I think, seem to forget 99% of it's taken from 4 data points, which is the open, high, low, and close of the candlestick or the bar chart. I think when you get a bit more experience, you don't need to see an RSI, for example, to know the market's sort of oversold and overbought in that respect. Jason, just out of interest, it's quite unique. We have the sort of, I think most traders just sort of see trading pits and trading floors on sort of documentaries and films. A certain film I can think of in mind with Ewan McGregor in, and they don't really sort of have any sort of idea of what that was actually like. What do you miss the most about that?
Oh, it was just so much fun. It was just so exciting. I just can't really explain the feeling of when you're in the pit. It's gone absolutely mental. The brokers are screaming all around you with orders. You're trying to take in what orders are being shouted out. Obviously, you haven't got time to think for long, because everyone around, all the other traders around me, who are my mates, but we're all fighting for the money. So you're not going to go, oh, don't you want to do that trade? You'd be like, you're not best friends when you're going toe to toe in the pit. So you're really living on your wits. You haven't even got time to punch something into a calculator. You've got to figure out your hedge in your brain. It was so intense, so exciting. I couldn't do it now. I don't think I'm too old. But when people are shouting and screaming, and you're putting your hand signals into the futures pit to get your hedge off, because I was an options trader. I don't know how else I could replicate that feeling. Actually, it was amazing.
Yeah,
you certainly couldn't
look at it.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you certainly couldn't refer to a chart. You had to make an instant decision. Yeah. And like Jason said, I mean, like an options trader, and you've got to put a strategy all together and actually trade that, get the prices, and start working that through. It's just, it's a whole different world. It was speed. You have to be in there doing it on the button, and you'd get it wrong, right? And then you've got to hedge, re-hedge, and try and work out exactly where it's going. You couldn't run out the pit and say, can you hold on while I have a quick look at this chart and see where the market's going? Like I remember at Barings and Morgan Stanley, where I worked previously, you'd go into a morning meeting, and the economist to tell you what the market was going to do. You'd be out of that meeting at 10 to 8 in the morning, and the market would do completely something else. And, you think, why am I bothered going and listening to this fella? But, he was making a living like I was as well, I suppose.
Yeah, there's always a living to be made from predicting what the markets are going to do. So I take it you two, after a busy trading day, in bed for 9 o'clock, waiting for the next trading day. No parties, nothing like that afterwards.
Thursday night only. Actually, I was exhausted. I mean, it took its toll on me. As Nick said, okay, it wasn't intense like that all day, every day. You would have your quiet days, and that was fun, because all the guys would stand around having banter, taking the piss out of each other. That was all so fun. Then you go down the pub and have a drink, which I don't think you can do these days. But I would get home and I would be exhausted. The other thing is, if you've been in the pit and you've gone and lost tens of thousands of pounds of your own money, and that's a lot of money now. But imagine that in the 90s. The last thing you actually want to do is go for a drink. You want to go home and just try and go to sleep.
Yeah, the roller coaster of trading motions.
Yeah, more often than not, stick your head in the freezer or the fridge and try and calm yourself down for a little bit. And
Definitely.
you've got to go back and you've got to face those people the next day as well. And people know what's happened. People know what's happened. If you've lost money, it's difficult to conceal.
Horrible.
And, it's definitely very, very different.
When you've had a bad morning and you've got to stand there in the afternoon and try and get it back, it's really horrible. Anyway, but there were some fabulous times, of course. We did actually make some money as well.
That's always helpful. Yeah, I mean, for Nick, it seems like there's from what you're describing, and I think, again, what we see sort of on documentaries and when it's fictionalized, it seems like it was a very physical endeavor as well, not just sort of the mental stress of trading that everyone can relate to, trading from charts. We also had that physical element, not necessarily bumping into each other, but just the sort of exertion and the energy and the noise. It sounds like it was pretty exhausting at times. What do you miss most about it?
Well, the answer for me is probably, going back to the things that happened over that period. The answer is none of it, but the genuine answer is none of it. But like, just work started in the City of London when I was 18, and I just think it's the most fascinating industry. And obviously, I would have much preferred everything during that period to have gone a lot better for me. But it didn't. You've got to deal with that, and it teaches you some of your own limitations, behaviour, issues you need to address going forward. And hopefully I've done that over the years as well. But it's addictive. It's very, I loved going to work every day. Like, no 2 days are the same, right? So I don't think any industry offers you that. You've always got new challenges, new ways to approach the market. There's a certain amount of camaraderie that Jason spoke about. I'm still friends with a lot of guys that I would have known from the trading floor, and when we get together, it's very easy to get back to where we were all of those years ago. And like Jason said, maybe go out for a drink on a Thursday every now and again. Because that was all it was.
Oh yeah, I can imagine in bed. Yeah, nice healthy vegetarian lunch at the gym, and then in bed for 9 o'clock to make sure you're well rested for the next day. That does that's how everyone imagines floor trading was. Yeah, it seems a shame that sort of current generation of traders can't experience that anymore. But such is life, such is technology. But yeah, I think those stories are fascinating, particularly for people who've got no idea. Or sort of never have the opportunity to interact with people who sort of did that type of thing. Thank you for that. It's time to get into our second challenge now, which is going to be, who is the better gift giver? Now, I've tried to do some alliteration there to trip me up. You've not managed to do that, almost like a bit of a tongue twister. Who is the better gift giver? Now, what that basically means is each trader is going to choose their own trade this time, and they're going to try and make it the best trade possible with a view to raising the most amount of money for their chosen charity. So let's try and take as much money off the broker as possible and give it to a fantastic cause. Nick, have you got a trading idea, please, that you would feel would be the best gift for your charity?
Look, I'm probably going to trade the Dow. I'll think about it as I'm talking as well. I just think with non-farm payroll today, there's the dollar related assets are going to move. You're going to, I think, I trade the Dow every day, right? So that's the one that I'm probably more familiar with and more comfortable with. It's volatile. It had the best part of an 800-point intraday movement yesterday. So it's got a big trading range. If I get it right, I'm going to make money. If I get it wrong, obviously, I'm going to lose money and probably lose a fair amount of money. So I need to have a decent stop in there. So the focus obviously is on making money for the charity. So I'm going to sell the Dow. I kind of liked Jamie Dimon's comments earlier this week, saying that the markets were facing a hurricane. I agree. I think inflation, it's not under control. I think there's a bit of work to be done there. I think every time the market bounces, people are thinking that the rate hike policy isn't going to be as aggressive, and we get this bounce. I think there's so false rallies in this market at the moment that I'm sure, rallied 500 points or just under 500 points yesterday. Testing 32,500. I'm hoping it can get back to those sort of levels. Everybody's looking at non-farm payroll, the ISM services numbers this afternoon. Hoping that they're going to be, well, that the jobs number is going to be a bit weak, and it's going to maybe deter the Fed from acting soon. So I'm going to sell the Dow because I'm losing so much money on the euro already. I'm probably going to increase a little bit here. Some of that, which sounds like something that I did years ago, but I promise you it's not. Because I prefer those shorter time frame trades, I don't mind trading a little bit. So I'm going to sell the Dow there. I'm going to sell one lot of the Dow 33,143.
Excellent,
so hopefully
excellent. So you're anticipating.
Well,
you did, yeah. So you're thinking we're almost going to get. Oh, my green screen's gone rogue. So you're thinking essentially these are all, to put a phrase, dead cat bounces at the moment. The fundamentals are so poor that we're going to see a continued amount of risk off in the equity markets. We're going to see a continuation after NFP, and you're essentially taking a bit of a pullback. If the market rallied yesterday, it shows how utterly disconnected I am from the markets at the moment. I have no idea what the Dow did yesterday, but obviously just seeing it on your charts there.
You were at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, I believe, weren't you?
I was. I got an invite as well. They were like best host of 2022 in case the BBC had issues. I was there on standby, but I just had cake instead and a fight with some of the vegan protesters who tried to get the colour of the troop and the odd policing came out. So were you not invited?
No, she's. I'm off the Christmas card list after the collapse of the bank.
Still, she holds grudges, that old Lizzie.
She did. And do you know what? When I was 14, I opened the door for her when she came to open the school that I went to, a new block in the school, and so I won't be doing that again. No,
I suggest not. I certainly would suggest, if she didn't give you a smile, you certainly got her back. That is for sure. Jason, please, what would be the best opportunity that you see right now in order to try and maximize the chances of raising good money for your charity?
I'm going to stay away from indices and dollar pairs because I've no idea what the non-farm payroll number is going to do today, and I don't really want to gamble over that. I wanted to do something with yen pairs for that reason, but I'm just not seeing anything I'm utterly convinced with. So I'm going to go with gold and hope that that's not overly affected by the non-farm payroll release today. I think gold can go a little bit higher. I think gold can get up to sort of 1890, 1895, which is a really good resistance level. I wish we were there right now and I would actually sell it, but I can't do that. So I'm going to buy some gold. I would rather buy it around sort of 1855, 1850, but we're not there. So I'll buy a bit of gold now. I would add to that if we do get down to that mid-50 area.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Is your fib? So I appreciate you'd like a slightly larger pullback, but very kindly are willing to compromise the entry slightly for the purposes of trading. Does that sort of 23.6 fib play some relevance there? I appreciate you've got the fib lower down with that sort of buy cluster.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the last little move up from the 1st of June. We've hit the 23.6% fib. I'm not convinced that will hold, if I'm honest. But I think that down at 1856, you can just see on the 4-hour chart, we've got a load of moving averages down there giving us a bit of support. We've got some longer term fibs also kicking in there, and we've got the short term fib there, 38.2, and we've even got a little trend line, which is kind of nice. Just going back to the middle of May, so there's quite a few little factors in there which make me think that will be a good support level today.
Yeah, that's definitely a level on the 15 people should be looking at. I can absolutely see why that would be the case. So we've got plenty more trades on at the moment. So that's good. 2 positions each. If you two gentlemen do see any other positions that you want to take, please let me know. We can talk through those. You're not just limited to the challenge trade. So if there's anything that's catching your eye, please do let me know. We'll take those trades as well. Now, what I'm quite interested with here, I'm going to come to you both on this, but first, Nick, I think I've asked you this on previous streams, but I can't remember your answer because I've got a goldfish memory and I've slept since. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrencies, been from the old school?
Yeah, it's and you're gonna get a better answer out of Jason on this one, but yeah, it's something that I've really sought to understand. I don't trade them. Saying that, I might trade one later on today. I don't know, but Yeah, it's one of those things that's just kind of left me behind, and I've never really caught up. You know, I have some friends who are very active in this space. They do very, very well out of it. You know, a number of them that got into Ethereum and Bitcoin very, very early on and have made a lot of money and still trade it. I think the pullbacks for me are the key. Obviously, we've seen probably a 60% retracement on that recent down to about 60. Sorry, down to about 28,000. A lot of people bought on an 80% pullback last time that happened. Yeah, I'm one of those people that tries to trade things that I know. I try and keep that to the DAX, the Dow, gold a little bit, and try not to step out of that. You know, it's one of those things, and just talking about the time of day we're trading at the moment as well, and obviously there's lots of retail traders who are listening. You know, I think in this phase of the day for me, I spoke about how I trade around the opening bell. This sort of period in the UK between 10 and 12 is a real dull period. And I think you find yourself trying to find stuff to do, the approach. So people are forcing trades in this period rather than really doing something that they want to do. I mean, Jason was looking for a pullback in gold, but, you know, for the benefit of the show, has taken a gold trade at that point. But it's a very dangerous period, you know. Or that's the way I think. I tend to go to the gym, walk the dogs, or cut the grass or something around this time of day, and try to avoid the market. So yeah, the cryptos are a bit of a strange one for me. Yeah, I don't have a great deal of interest.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good points there. I mean, one is it's not broken, don't fix it, sort of stick with, you know. And then I think the second point from that is, you know, you don't have to trade, don't force a trade. I think a lot of new traders think they have to be doing something every minute, particularly when the markets are moving well. There's that big fear of missing out, and it's a case of you don't have to. The markets are always going to be there, but it's quite difficult to sort of believe and acknowledge that, isn't it, in that respect when you first start?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, Jason, please tell me your thoughts on cryptocurrencies.
I'm just actually looking at the background that you've got there. I was in one of those scenes.
Oh, are you really? I was trying to find you. I was told you both film stars. So this was Nick.
Yeah, there you go. I was standing just behind him.
Oh, really? And you were in the background on one of them. I was trying to track you down. I was trying to find him. But I was like, maybe you looked a little bit different.
Yeah, I looked a bit different. Big, thick glasses, orange. Anyway, yeah, it was good fun. It was weird being in that film. Okay, so crypto. I have been a bear of crypto. I mean, I know you're going to say, "Oh, yeah, of course you've been a bear," because it's all it's done is go down. Easy to say, but I mean, when we had this peak up here at 64,900, and then we beat it with this peak here, got a 66,980, but that couldn't be sustained, and we pulled back, and then we got this peak up here at 60. Well, I'll call it 69. We just couldn't maintain these gains, and it just rang some alarm bells for me. And with these long upper wicks, and eventually we did come down. So the thing about crypto is, for me, it just charts so well. Technically, it's the best market to trade. Actually, I don't trade it, which is kind of odd, but I do advise a hedge fund, and I guess it's because there's nothing else to go on, is there, for crypto? I don't know how many thousands of crypto coins there are now, but you know, with the currency, you've got the economics, you've got the interest rates, you've got forward guidance from the central bank, and then you know whatever else can affect a currency. But with crypto, there really isn't anything. And people talk about it being an inflation hedge. Well, it clearly isn't. We know that now.
No.
People talk about it being a hedge against falling stock markets. Well, we know it isn't. So the only thing that you have really to go on is technicals, and they do seem to work really well.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point with Bitcoin, because I'm sure you were exactly the same. I had no interest in it prior to sort of 2016, 17, when it started exploding and it became a CFD, so you could trade it as a relatively safe derivative rather than getting involved with wallets and things like that. And I think the question that I'm sure you had as well is, how technical will it be when it actually starts moving? Because there was just nothing. There was nothing exploded. And I agree, like you, it is quite technical now. And again, all those sort of like, you know, during the pandemic where it went down to, what was it, 4,000? It was obviously not a protection against then. So you know, it is an interesting asset to trade. And one of the reasons that 8cap is such a favorable broker is because they have just a 12-point spread on Bitcoin, something that's moving hundreds of dollars in every day. So you can actually trade it in a very cost-efficient way and not have that risk, not have that exposure of trading it in an unleveraged way. So that's one of the popular assets that we do see people trade. So yeah, thank you for those thoughts. I mean, I guess you guys are just sort of sticking with the main ones rather than getting involved in all the small caps and things like that. But that's no problem. But I do agree that Bitcoin has shown itself to be a very nice technical sort of market there. Nick, I think we're going to draw on sort of both of your experience at the moment again. You know, just I think what are sort of things you think traders should be doing or should be avoiding if they want to stay in the game as long as you have?
Look, they have to get the risk management right. You know, I think that underpins everything, Simon. You know, just on the point you were making there about Bitcoin and the spread we're offering, you know, I hadn't heard that. I think it's fantastic. I kind of remember looking at it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I think that there was probably a $200 or something on it, and that's going to disadvise anybody at that sort of point. So, look, I mean, managing, you think, you know, as much as it is about making money and trying to be profitable, you know, you've got to be able to manage a bad position. And what do you do? Where do you stop out? You know, I still find it sometimes. I think nobody gets into a trade thinking that it's ever going to go. We all know that it does. Me more than most. And you've got to be aware of that. You've got to identify that, and the quicker you do that, the safer you are. So for me, you know, getting the risk management right is the key part of everything that you do. You know, on the good side and on the bad side.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes back to those sort of sobering, like less interesting details, isn't it? It's just about making sure. I think you're just essentially saying, just make sure you can live to fight another day. You know, never be in a position where you're blowing your account in a day, as I'm sure we've all been there and done. I certainly have in the past. Live to fight another day.
Yeah, and you hear so many stories about people blowing up accounts, and I learned because I blew up an account. Learn before you blow up the account. Make sure you keep, you know, the risk, the amount that you risk in limited. I have taken a profit on that trade, by the way, and I'm just waiting for another entry point if that does come, and I'll repeat the trade. I'm a firm believer in repeats that work. You know, so if you do get that 20-25 pip movement and it gets back to those sort of rules, repeat it. I think, you know, I remember about the trading floor a lot earlier on in the program. I mean, one of the things I used to focus on was how many times you got distance levels, and they worked. You know, when is that breakthrough going to occur, and when you know, how many, how much further are you going to break out from that particular point? So those are the things that, again, that I kind of look at.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think a good point there is, like you say, I mean, sometimes psychologically it's quite difficult. You make a winning move and then it comes back to not think about the previous win and worry about giving the gains back. It takes it's only a very subtle thing, but it takes a more sort of advanced trading discipline in order to just get back in the market and take essentially the same trade because you're worried it's not going to work, give the profits back. So it's quite an interesting little insight there. I think a lot of people do struggle with that.
Yeah.
Jason, please tell me the same sort of question there, please. What sort of tips would you give for sort of aspiring traders? I actually forgot what I asked there.
Well, I can't really elaborate an awful lot more. I mean, Nick's nailed it. It's all about discipline. For me, it's preserving mental capital. When you know, when you blow a hole in your account, obviously the financial pain is terrible. But for me, it's the mental pain. It's the loss of confidence. It's all the opportunities that I'm now missing because I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I don't want to risk more money. That's the big one for me. So yeah, always use a stop loss. And even to this day, I still have my moments of indiscipline where I'm like, yeah, I'll put that trade on. I don't need to put a stop in right now. I'll probably do some more if it goes lower. And then it all goes wrong. And you're like, ugh, you know, why am I so stupid? Why did I do that? And I still do it to this day, occasionally. And it's just not worth it. You just one thing you've got to do is put a stop loss in and really put your target in when you've planned the trade, put your stop loss, put your target and just walk away. And then you don't have to suffer all these emotions that traders do go through because you're getting overly excited or overly anxious.
Yeah, I think that sort of candid answer there just sort of shows that, no matter how experienced you are going to still make trading errors. They don't have to be egregious trading errors, but you are still going to have, make errors, make mistakes, and things. I think a lot of traders beat themselves up when they make a trading error, but it's just part of being human, isn't it? And the flaws that we have, no matter what occupation we'll do, we'll make errors. So I think that's quite an interesting insight that, someone as experienced as you will still make minor trading errors, but recognizing those is very, very important.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to jump into our third and final challenge, which is where our two traders have to take position sizing based on the wheel of lots. So this can't possibly go wrong. So we're going to see how this goes. So Nick is going to be spinning first with the wheel of lots. Here we go. Look at this. Oh, beautiful. This just looks like the Wheel of Fortune for those who know it. So we're going to spin the wheel of lots. Nick has to trade at the position size that it lands on. It's all the way from a 1 micro lot all the way up to a larger 2 lot. Here we go. Where's it going? Oh no! Up. It's been stitched up with the 0.01 lots. So Nick, you have to find
unbelievable. That was
rigged.
Test run, surely. Huh? That can't be right.
You want to have a second spin?
You can't have.
You want a second? Okay, we're going to give you a second.
Give him another go.
We're going to give you a second spin. This is the second and final spin. Let's go. Oh.
Oh.
All right, there you go. All right, now you've got what you want. Now you stitch yourself up. Fortunately, we're not trading your instrument. We're not choosing your instrument.
Yeah, I've gone from one extreme to the other there. I think, God, I don't know. Do I get a second to think about it, or have I got to launch straight into something? Do you want to do Jason's?
No, you get a second to think about it. We'll give Jason the best of 2 on the position sizing. You find a market to trade that. It's probably going to be the US 2000 that's got an index value of about 7. Right, Jason, your turn to spin the wheel, please.
Okay.
God, give him 2 as well.
Are you gonna stick or twist on 1 lot?
I'll take the 1 lot.
Okay, we'll take the 1 lot. Right, Nick, find me a market that you can trade at 2 lots. It'll be the ASX 200, the Australian stock market. It's got an index value of about 5 as well, so you're not going to be too exposed. There's plenty of index.
Do you know what? I was going to say the FTSE because it's closed.
Okay. Of course it is.
I don't know. For 2 lots, it has to be a currency. To be honest, you couldn't go near the indices with 2 full lots. So even me, I think I'm going to bulk at that. I'm just going to have to go with sterling and take a similar approach to the euro, which is failing drastically at the moment. But I'll buy 2 lots of stuff, 25, 69, 70, wherever it is. But yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on that one. Risk management becomes very, very important with 2 lots. I was actually looking forward to this challenge. I'm not now.
No, you got stitched up with either side, didn't you? Yeah. Jason, what are you looking at with the more sort of the more manageable 1 lots? What's taking your fancy to put your final trade on for today?
It's a bit of a gamble. I'm looking at the euro yen. The yen has been weak again lately this week. The dollar yen hasn't quite got up to the previous high around wherever it was. Hang on, let me just have a quick look at it. The dollar yen last month's high was at 131.24. We're only at around 130.00. So I'm thinking it might get there. I'm wondering if we're going to get double tops in these yen pairs. That's what I'm looking at. So the euro yen is actually close to or testing the 140 high. Where have we got to? We've got to 139.84. We're just pulling back. So I'm going to have a little bit of a gamble here on that being on a double top forming and the market reversing. If I sell it now, I'll put a stop in at 140.40 and I'll look for 136.5 as my target.
Excellent, excellent. How long do you anticipate holding these trades for, Jason?
We've got till Tuesday, is that right?
We have, yes.
Okay, it might take till Tuesday, or if I'm lucky and the euro collapses on the non-farm payroll number, it might work for me today. We'll see what happens.
There could be some interesting moves off NFP, so that could well decide, I guess, your profit-taking strategy. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, look, I'll have to keep an eye on them, especially the two-lot trade. I'll put some stop losses and peak levels in, or target levels in, as soon as we finish here, and then just, I'd like to be out a lot as soon as possible. But I just have to keep an eye on it through non-farm payroll. If I run it through to Tuesday, but not without a stop loss, so I'll get those in there shortly. The only reason they didn't go in straight away is because it is a dull period of the day, so I've got a bit of time, but they will go in there. I'll have a think about them. Look at the charts, do my own form of technical analysis. Use your coin flip, I think, and then decide where the stop loss is going.
Man after my own heart. Nick, so the purpose of this stream and the reason you gentlemen are kind of giving you time and 8cap are sponsoring it is so we can try and raise some excellent money for some worthy charities. Please tell me about your charity, Nick.
Yeah, so I'm trying for Rose again. Unfortunately, a few years ago, a good friend of mine, his infant daughter passed away unexpectedly, and what they found in their moment of absolute grief was that there was nowhere really to go and spend time and start to go through that process. So what they do is they provide rooms or venues within hospitals where people have suffered that devastation, can actually go and start to recover, provide some money for people who are grieving as well, and some support services. But really, it's just like the key part of it is an area where people can start to grieve the loss of an infant, really.
Well, that sounds a fantastic and worthy cause. They're obviously driven by that sort of horrible experience. So fantastic. Sure. Jason, what charity are you playing for, please?
There's an orphanage in Africa that I've been supporting for as long as I can remember. Actually, I support them every month. I know the guy that runs it. He does a phenomenal job. It's a hell of a challenge. And the important thing for me is that I know that every penny that I send to this charity is spent on the kids. So yeah, I've been doing that for a number of years now. I forget how long. And if I could win them some more money, it would be tremendous.
Yeah, that's interesting. That Man After My Own Heart, whenever I've been a guest of a charity in one of the African countries that I also play for, they make the dollars go very, very far because of the economic leverage, don't they? So it's certainly there. Hopefully, best of luck to both of you gentlemen as well. Right, we've got approximately a minute to go. Give us a sort of market that you think traders should keep an eye on over the next week, Nick.
Difficult to say, really. That you're throwing that one at me. I think the Dow. Just that attraction to volatility that I have. Currencies for me are just, it is far more technical and it's just out of my wheelhouse, really. So I think the Dow is going to continue to be volatile, and there's going to be opportunities for that reason.
Jason, what should our traders be looking at over the next week?
Apart from what I've shown you today, I'm very focused on the stock markets as well. Obviously, there's been a lot of action and they've been great fun. I do agree with Nick that ultimately, I think the stock markets have got a lot further to go. I think this is really just the beginning of quite a significant correction. In the very, very short term, I think there's actually a good chance that we can go a little bit higher. I wouldn't be surprised to see the S&P get up to the 4,300 area, where I think sort of 43.30 would be a very, very strong resistance level and could be worth trying a short and see if the market does reverse and then collapse significantly. I'm just wondering if it will be, sort of a quiet period over June, July, then maybe late August. We'll see the markets head down, and the autumn could be quite messy. We'll see.
Okay, excellent. Could we just go to the scoreboard just to conclude the session, see where our traders are before we finish today's stream? Obviously, things can change dramatically. Nick, you have closed the US 30 trade there, banked some profit, and you currently have your euro dollar and also your cable. We managed to get Nick trading two currencies and one index. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, that's good. It's a bad sign, I think, Simon. I'm not too.
You never know. This might convert you. You might be the FX king soon. And then we have your And then Jason, at the moment, we've got your gold, your euro, yen, and also your Germany 30. The markets can change dramatically. We've got NFP coming up in a few hours, and then these gentlemen may have the option to hold all the way until Tuesday. That stream has absolutely flown by like it always does. Some fantastic insights there into the trading methodologies of our two veteran traders. That is the end of the stream. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. We hope you join us next time. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you'll find out straight away when the next trading battle is. A nice wide range of guests for you to learn lots from. But wherever you are in the world, trade safe. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.